In the ever-evolving world of fashion, where trends rise and fall like tides, there is one wave that has been steadily gaining momentum: gender-fluid fashion. Welcome to Riches to Rags, your fashion compass in a world where clothing transcends traditional boundaries. To understand the journey of gender-fluid fashion, we must first take a step back in time. Fashion has always been a canvas for human expression, a mirror reflecting our perception of gender. Let's embark on a journey through history. Long before society imposed the strict binary division of men and women clothing, there was a time when attire served as a status symbol, not a gender marker. Feudal times saw men and women from similar social classes donning strikingly similar attire. In the feudal era, clothing was more about practicality and social hierarchy than rigid gender distinctions. Men and women, particularly those of similar social classes, often dressed in similar, elegant, and ornate attire. Luxurious fabrics, intricate embroidery, and lavish accessories were the order of the day, regardless of one's gender. It was a time when fashion celebrated opulence and refinement, with little regard for gender conformity. This historical perspective reminds us that fashion, as a means of self-expression, has not always been tied to the binary constraints of male and female clothing. The transition to gendered fashion came later, but it's crucial to acknowledge that non-binary fashion has deep roots in our sartorial history. In the courts of Europe, both men and women adorned themselves in elaborate, ornate clothing. Lace collars, ruffled cuffs, and luxurious fabrics were not exclusive to one gender. Men, in particular, wore clothing that featured intricate detailing and vibrant colors. Hairstyles were equally extravagant, with both men and women sporting long, flowing locks. But as times changed, so did fashion. The 1920s and 30s witnessed a fascinating rebellion against conventional fashion, and the bright young things of England were at the forefront of this movement. These young socialites and aristocrats refused to conform to the mundane and monotonous attire that had become synonymous with men's fashion at the time. In an era when conformity was the norm, these daring individuals broke free from the chains of traditionalism. Men's fashion in the early 20th century had become overly uniform and dull, with strict rules governing what was considered appropriate attire. Dark suits, conservative ties, and a general lack of creativity characterized men's clothing of the time. However, the bright young things challenged this status quo. Men in this subculture were not afraid to wear bold patterns, vibrant colors, and unique accessories. They defied the conventional expectations of masculinity and redefined the boundaries of what was considered men's fashion. Then came the 1960s, a decade that challenged every established convention. The fashion of the 1960s was a radical departure from the conservative, buttoned-up attire of the 1950s. It embraced self-expression, individuality, and a sense of liberation. Androgynous styles that blurred the lines between masculine and feminine clothing began to take center stage. Mick Jagger, as the charismatic frontman of the Rolling Stones, challenged traditional notions of masculinity with his exuberant stage outfits. He embraced feminine fabrics, vibrant prints, and androgynous silhouettes. Jimi Hendrix, the iconic guitarist, showcased a similar disregard for conventional gender norms through his unique sense of style. David Bowie, the legendary rock star, took gender fluidity in fashion to new heights. His alter ego, Ziggy Stardust, was a fusion of masculine and feminine elements. Bowie's fashion choices, including colorful jumpsuits, platform boots, and bold makeup, pushed the boundaries of what was considered appropriate attire for a man. These icons not only redefined fashion but also challenged societal expectations of gender and self-expression. Women, too, were breaking free from the constraints of traditional fashion. From the brave women of the 1920s and 30s who fought for masculine silhouettes, to the women of the 60s who emphasized form and function, fashion became a symbol of empowerment. These were the decades when courageous and forward-thinking women, often referred to as flappers, broke free from the constraints of traditional feminine attire. They embraced masculine silhouettes, discarded corsets, and dared to challenge societal expectations. The famous fashion designer Yves Saint Laurent played a crucial role in this transformation. He introduced le smoking, the first tuxedo designed exclusively for women, in 1966. This creation challenged the conventional notion of evening wear, allowing women to embrace a more androgynous and powerful look. Pants, once considered a rebellious political statement, became a symbol of liberation for women. They represented a rejection of traditional gender roles and a demand for equal rights. Women no longer felt confined to skirts and dresses. They could choose the attire that best suited their lifestyle and aspirations. The 1990s and 2000s witnessed a fusion of masculine and feminine elements, influenced by streetwear and music. Midriff flossing brass, cargo pants, and low-rise jeans redefined urban fashion. Icons like Missy Elliott and Ali A broke the mold for urban women in a refreshing way. Their style was characterized by a fusion of masculine and feminine elements, reflecting the changing landscape of fashion. These artists embraced street sensibility and showcased the versatility of clothing that transcended gender boundaries. Fashion has always been a mirror reflecting the values, norms, and aspirations of society. In modern times, we find ourselves at a crossroads where fashion serves as a bridge between the past and the future, redefining the boundaries of gender and self-expression. Fashion designers, activists, and individuals are challenging the norms and labels associated with clothing. The concept of gender fluidity has gained momentum, creating a space where everyone can embrace their unique identity without the confines of traditional gendered attire. As we continue our journey through the evolution of gender-fluid fashion, we will explore the representation of gender non-conforming individuals and the unprecedented visibility they have achieved in contemporary media. Representation matters, and in 2022, gender-fluid representation in fashion media is more prominent than ever. Gen Z, with its willingness to shop outside assigned gender areas, is reshaping the fashion landscape. In the current era, gender-fluid representation in fashion media has become ubiquitous. It's no longer a niche concept. It's a reality that is celebrated and embraced. It's a testament to the fact that gender non-conforming individuals have always existed throughout history, and their stories and experiences are finally taking center stage. A significant statistic that underscores this shift in perspective is the fact that 56% of Gen Z individuals were already shopping outside their assigned gender area. This statistic reflects a generation that is not confined by traditional notions of what is appropriate for their gender. Furthermore, 41% of Gen Z respondents identified as neutral on the gender spectrum, with over half identifying as something other than heterosexual. This data reflects a generation that is embracing a diverse and inclusive understanding of gender and sexuality. This shift in perspective is not merely a trend. It's a reflection of a changing society where individuals are free to express themselves authentically. It's a celebration of diversity and an acknowledgement that gender is not a rigid binary but a complex and multifaceted spectrum. In the ever-evolving world of fashion, it's not enough to simply follow trends. The fashion industry must lead the charge in redefining gender norms. Designers, models, and influencers are embracing the power of fashion as a vehicle for change. Transgender models are playing a pivotal role in reshaping the industry. Their presence on runways and in campaigns represents a significant step toward greater inclusivity and diversity. Stars like Jonathan Van Ness and Lil Nas X are using their platforms to challenge the boundaries of menswear. They're not confined by traditional notions of masculinity, and their fashion choices reflect a new era of self-expression. Their bold choices inspire others to embrace their true selves and express their individuality through fashion. And there you have it, a glimpse into the world of gender-fluid fashion. From the history that shaped it to the trends that define it, fashion is an ever-evolving art form, and the canvas is yours to paint. Fashion is no longer just about clothing, it's a statement. It's a call for change, a demand for inclusivity, and an affirmation of the power of individuality. Thanks for joining us on this captivating journey through the threads of time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more fashion explorations on riches to rags.